Biting Commentaries presented by Hawaiian Airlines and Honolulu Magazine.
Baby bok choy from Komput Farms. You know, there is nothing better than farm fresh ingredients here at the Farmers Market at Ward. But the trouble is that to have farm fresh ingredients in Hawaii, you need healthy farmers. Now I've come here to meet Patty and Denise from Feed the Hunger. Not Feed the Hungry like me. No.
Correct. Well, we do that as well.
Okay, okay. What is Feed the Hunger?
Feed the Hunger Foundation is really a mechanism to provide loans to low-income individuals who in Hawaii are involved anywhere throughout the food system.
So from farming out of the ground to
Correct.
processing?
From those working with soil, compost, fertilizer, agriculture, aquaculture, on up until caterers, food trucks, farmers markets such as these.
And as you see, it's not just a place where it's selling food, it's a place where people are coming to know and to meet the people that actually produce the food, to hang out with their families, bring their children, really see and get in touch again with where the food comes from.
Let's go sit down and talk.
Okay.
This segment of Biting Commentary was brought to you by Feed the Hunger Foundation, microfinancing toward innovative and sustainable solutions.
We see a world where we who have kokua those who have less. Imagine food that's healthy, food that does no harm to the environment. Imagine food that's affordable and accessible, food that harnesses local entrepreneurship. Imagine food that brings together families and communities in ways that will nourish the Aina Feed the Hunger Foundation, microfinancing toward innovative and sustainable solutions.
Honolulu Magazine, in a nutshell, is the user's manual to Honolulu. If you live here, this truly is your guide to navigating the city. We tell you the best places to eat, the best places to go shopping, but we also tell you which public schools are performing the best. We tell you which doctors are the best ones. So we cover all of that ground and really truly aim to be the ultimate guide to the city.
Visit HonoluluMagazine.com today to enter to win a trip for two to any Hawaiian Airlines international destination. You're watching Biting Commentary.
Now, Feed the Hunger is a microfinance organization. What is microfinance anyway?
So microfinance typically is a very small loan made to people who really couldn't qualify for loans at institutions like banks or credit unions. And it's at amounts that are too small for these institutions to want to make loans for. Our loans range from $5,000 to $15,000 on average.
Okay, but that's small for a bank.
Absolutely. And the people that we target or want to make the loans to are people who could never qualify for a loan at a bank.
Are these people who are credit worthy?
Credit worthy, yes, to us, maybe not to the banks, but these people are committed to the communities. They're passionate about the work that they do. They have business plans. They know how they're going to pay you back, but perhaps they don't have collateral or they don't have a good credit history because they haven't built that up. And the banks would look at that and say, not a good risk. We look at it and say, wow, well, you've got this passion for what you're doing, and our program, Food for Thought in Hawaii, is all around making loans to those individuals in the food system.
Got it. Food for thought. I like
Exactly.
this. I like this. Now, you must have to look into people's hearts to some extent, right?
That's our favorite part of the work. We get to get out in the fields and actually meet the potential borrowers. We don't want anyone not to be successful. You know, for us, that means more than just the loan.
So would money here stay here?
Yes, investments here, and we're continually increasing the amount of investments that we're making. When they pay back, the money will go to more loans to other farmers or other restaurateurs. Because there's so many people here in Hawaii that are passionate, who want to get involved with the food system, who want to have healthier food for themselves, their families, and their communities, and yet they lack that little bit of capital to really have the opportunity to grow their businesses.
So you're kind of helping these people up. You're not exploiting them. Sometimes microfinance gets zapped with that, right?
Absolutely. Microfinance is very popular internationally because what they have found, the repayment rate internationally is over 99%.
Okay.
To be able to pay back a loan gives a different sense of pride than receiving a grant would ever do.
So tell me about one of your successes. I mean, what's it like to succeed?
In my version of success, it is actually our first loan. We made it to a Laotian gentleman who was actually involved in one of the largest trafficked labor cases in the United States.
Okay.
He was working here.
It's an employee and not the employer?
Correct.
Okay.
This particular gentleman decided that he wanted to raise his own fish, and he needed a little bit of money for piping, for fish feed. He would scramble around and go and look for abandoned lumber, and he built these fish tanks. And we have made the connection to Alan Wong, so that when the fish are ready, this gentleman would be able to sell his food, and Alan will create an entree.
There you go.
There you go.
That sounds like a success story to me.
But we also are flexible with the loans and with the repayment rate. So for example, if you're a farmer and you aren't going to harvest until 6 months from now, we'll work out the details of the loan such that you start paying when you start making money off of your business.
And John, we're different than merely a bank making a loan. We really try to provide the network, the food hubs that are so necessary for success in this area.
Okay, so the goal is to help people or to build a more sustainable local food culture?
It's both. It's absolutely both.
Okay, yeah, because one feeds the other, as it is.
As it is.
Well said.
It is that food security and the food sustainability. As you know, Hawaii is so far from being food sustainable.
Yeah, we import about 90% of our food. So things like this is progress, I take it?
Absolutely, and we love the farmers market because again, it's not just a place where people come to shop. We are working with people right now who are trying to make farmers markets more affordable and accessible to low-income communities by bringing in food stamps, so helping food markets accept food stamps.
Okay, which would make sense because they sell food.
Absolutely,
right.
and healthy food.
Aha, as opposed to
frozen
cans and the packages.
Right. That's right.
And the chefs are helping the next generation. That's going to be critical if we're going to move the sustainable movement forward by educating kids and the next generation of farmers. That's why people like Ed Kenney, who I know that we'll be visiting later, is a rock star to us.
Well, there you go. Yeah, he's even got the tats to be a rock star and
okay,
everything.
Maybe punk star, I don't know.
And in Hawaii, our top chefs are our rock stars.
I've noticed that. It's sometimes an attitude, but never mind. Never mind. And sometimes because they really deserve it, because they've changed the perception of Hawaii food internationally, but they also ratified people's taste buds here. But why feed the hunger?
We called ourselves Feed the Hunger Foundation because hunger can mean, as you said, the physical hunger, but it's also a metaphysical hunger. It is the hunger to help your neighbor and your community. And so Feed the Hunger Foundation brings together not just those who need the loans, but those with the capital who might be able to provide some kind of investment to help their fellow human being.
Okay, so the hunger is bigger than just hungry, but I am hungry.
We'll feed you too.
Okay, what I think we ought to do is take the vegetables over to Ed Kenney and demand he make us food.
I'm with you, John.
All right, that sounds like a plan to me. Excuse me, I gotta get my vegetables. Off we go.
This Fast Kind tip is sponsored by Hawaiian Airlines.
To have everything fresh from farm to table is what I think every restaurant strives for in Hawaii.
I'm very proud when I can say, this collard green was grown in Wailua, and the guy down the street made this sausage. And
everybody's trying to get as fresh as we can, and by doing that, incorporating most of the island produce and fish and all the resources that Hawaii has to offer.
When you talk about farm to table, I think you should actually go to the farm. And when you go to the farm, you see how things are raised, how things are grown, how things are produced. It gives you a better appreciation for your food.
bringing the islands together for the moments that matter most. Every day, Hawaii flies with us.
Hey, we're in the kitchen of downtown with Ed Kenney, whose kitchen it is, and we went shopping for you. Even though I know you don't need it, we want you to do a couple things from the Farmer's Market cookbook since we've been at the Farmer's Market. I got a feeling there's pork involved because there's half a pig hanging in the corner there.
There's always pork involved. Local Shinsato pork, no less. This time of year, there's green papaya everywhere at the Farmer's Market. For the Farmer's Market cookbook, we did a pork and green papaya soup that was based on a soup that my mom used to always make when we grew up. And I thought we'd do a pork and papaya sandwich. Same ingredients, entirely different flavor profile. I think they'll complement each other perfectly.
Okay.
I thought we would just start with the pickled vegetables that you normally find in a banh mi. So while you are working on that, I think I'm going to get the broth started for this soup.
Okay. One advantage of the Farmer's Market cookbook is that our friend Joe Namkong, who edited it, kept all the chefs to 6 ingredients. Right.
So yeah, so this is a very simple recipe, home-style cooking. I've got onions to start our dish. I got a pot here, medium heat, little oil, some Shinsato pork that we've already cut up.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, little.
Now, is that a pig foot?
It sure is. I found in any sort of sauce or soup, it adds this unctuous texture and flavor that I can't live without. I've got the pig foot. I've split it down the center, and that'll go in the pot too.
Looks good. Now you have really dedicated yourself to using the whole animal.
Yeah.
Like Glenn will only sell you a whole animal in the first place, right?
And that kind of goes, it's a two-way street. You know, we're here to support the farmers, but the farmers are here to support us as well. So they grow whole pigs, we don't ask just for the bellies. You know, otherwise they won't survive. So we just make use of everything. Now that, onion, pork, little ginger.
And if we really want to have sustainable agriculture and local animals, we're going to have to learn not just to buy the tenderloins.
Exactly.
Or the steaks.
And this is the best part.
Especially if you're going to make a soup.
Just kind of sweating the vegetables down, pulling some of the flavor out, not looking to get everything too brown, maybe a little color. And this is the foundation of the flavor. A little salt and pepper. Here is some pork stock. These are dried shiitake. That's what my mom always used. It imparts a characteristic flavor that is unlike fresh. But if you are really a locavore, you can use hamakua mushrooms instead.
I always keep the water and throw it in things.
Yeah, I'm going to put that right in the soup. So let's throw these shiitake into our soup.
This is starting to look like a pretty good soup here.
Oh. And then I will use this, but I always strain it because it's flavor. It's another layer of flavor. So yeah, because lots of times there's like dirt and grime and grit with those dried shiitake mushrooms. Turn your heat up to medium high and cover it.
All right.
So for that, what we're doing is our pickled vegetables. So I cut it in half.
You know, I was at the Farmer's Market with the Feed the Hunger women.
Yeah, Patty and Denise.
And you're one of their chef partners.
It's hard not to be involved. And what they're doing for supporting local food-based businesses, whether it be anyone from farmers, value-added products, even people starting small restaurants, that just gets the food movement moving. And you know, it's about building a future for Hawaii, for our kids. Mm-hmm. You know, the power of food, it brings people together, and they recognize it.
But it's also important, I think, to share food and to learn where our food is coming from. Right.
So we've cleaned out the seeds. And you ever use one of these, John? This is dangerous. When you're using one of these mandolin, you have to be very careful. You want to push away from you and kind of keep your hands on the top of the vegetable.
I'll try not to hurt myself.
Okay, so we're just going to shred the green papaya just into little strings like this.
Okay.
And I'll let you take care of that.
All right,
I'll
you can do this.
I'll work on this one. Be careful.
Is that enough?
Good. Yeah, that's enough.
Oh, thank goodness.
And what we're going to do with this, pickle it with some carrots. Usually in banh mi, it's with daikon, right? So the same thing, just add a little bit of that in there.
This is a pretty good mandolin, actually.
You're making me nervous. So the reason why we started this first is because just like anytime you make a quick pickle, you want to salt your vegetables. We've already got some done here.
Okay.
So what you'll see, you salt them, and for about an hour they sit out. You see all this juice that runs out. What you end up with is a more intense flavor vegetable and a crisper vegetable. What we've got is a pickling brine. It's heated up to the point where the sugar melts or dissolves.
Okay.
There, and just pour it over, and within...
So water, vinegar, sugar.
Water, vinegar, sugar.
Ah.
You can add spices depending on, I mean, if you're doing an Indian dish, you might want to put some cinnamon or mustard seeds in there. We're just keeping it simple. In Southeast Asia, they use a lot of fresh herbs. So at this point, after an hour, we're just going to cut big chunks of green papaya.
And toss them in? Is that what we're going to do?
And again, my mother used to use squash, but the papaya, when it cooks down, kind of has that same texture.
No, I've never actually cooked green papaya, so this is interesting.
Couple star anise, don't want to overpower it, maybe three pieces. So you get the gist of it, but it'll be even better in half an hour and even better tomorrow. While that's cooking on the stove, we'll move to the sandwich.
I think I saw Patty and Denise peeking in at one point here, so maybe we'll have to make them a sandwich, right?
That's what it's all about, cooking together, eating together. In Vietnam, they use a different, it was almost like a chopped egg and oil mixture, but we're going to use mayonnaise and just add a little shoyu to it. My mom would serve this with manoa lettuce and asparagus.
Asparagus, yeah.
It was a standard table condiment growing up.
Now, your mom is Bev. No, I would think she would have been too busy to cook.
Yeah, everyone says hula dancers can't cook. But my mom is hands down the best cook I've known. And I'm not just making that up. You hear people say that a lot.
Yeah.
But she never wanted me to eat the stuff, the pizza and the sloppy joes and things they were serving at school. So I always had sack lunch, homemade lunch. So maybe it wore it off on me. I'm not sure.
Apparently it did, you know. Okay.
Here we've got some pork charcuterie that we've made in-house.
And is that your famous head cheese?
Yes, it is.
There you go.
Yeah, it was probably one of the highlights of my culinary career when Jacques Pepin came up and asked, "What is this?" And I said, "Copa di testa."
It's head cheese,
right?
right?
Head cheese. Yeah. He puts it in his mouth, and it's dangling from his mouth, and he's looking at me in the eyes saying, "Très bien!" And I mean, from there on out, it was I could have just died at that point, and and it's all head to tail. Nothing goes to waste, and that's the way it was always done before.
Plus, if you've never had Ed's head cheese, très bien.
Très bien. So, what we're gonna do is like they do in Saigon, a little pate. This is pork pate. It's also known as chicholi. Adds a richness to the sandwich. We've got the copa di testa, which is the head that has been deboned and rolled and cooked for 18 hours. So again,
now this is looking really pretty good.
And then some of our pickled vegetables. They've been sitting for about 30 minutes or so.
Still got a little crunch.
A little crunch. It adds a freshness, like you were saying.
It's really a genius cuisine.
Sometimes they'll add the jalapeno into the pickle, but what I found is it makes the pickle itself hot. I prefer to have it so every bite you take may be a little bit different. In Vietnam, they have fish sauce like ketchup, and you can add it to your own food how you want it. Here, I kind of just go lightly.
Yeah, fish sauce is like a magic ingredient if you just use a little. Sneaking in the broth with clams always works.
Oh man, that sounds delicious.
Yeah.
So we're slicing cucumbers to add that fresh texture to the sandwich. I'd scrape the seeds out often because they give off a lot of water and it makes things soggy. I don't always scrape them out though. In a salad, lots of times I'll leave them in.
That's looking really good here. The natural Vietnamese cuisine is really light and very fresh.
Oh, exactly.
So the collision between French and Vietnamese really made an incredible cuisine, yeah? You know what, we got to get to the soup. Now, did you set out to do largely a locally sourced restaurant?
Yes, the local first, organic whenever possible with the Aloha Always motto.
Yeah.
Was there from day one.
All right.
It's gotten a lot easier, believe me, over time.
Yeah, let's take it outside and talk story a little with Denise and Patty.
Perfect.
And also eat.
Of course, that's what we're here for.
This Fast Kind tip is sponsored by Hawaiian Airlines.
We know that the new economy is based on small entrepreneurship.
Totally is.
And so our investment on the small level will really bloom not just for Hawaii, but globally.
I think the relationship between the chef and the farmer, the restaurant and the farmer is important. It should be like the farmer is asking the chef, what do you want me to grow for you? The chef can also ask, what can you grow for me? Can you grow this? Can you grow that? Then that synergy will produce different things.
last year, we got the gold medal for best value. That changed everything for me as far as the Haliaino Awards are, because, you know, growing up here, traditionally, value is associated with choke and cheap. We don't give choke big portions, and we're definitely not cheap. So it kind of represented to me that maybe the public's view of value is changing a little bit. Maybe they're seeing the value in fresh, local, organic produce that hasn't traveled 5,000 miles to get here.
It's just a very exciting time, I think, right now.
To us, it's not about the sea. It's about who's in it. Every day, Hawaii flies with us.
If you want to know where to eat right now, pick up Honolulu Magazine and check out our monthly dining coverage, including our All-Island Restaurant Guide and our annual list of Haliaina Award winners. For even more dining, go online to honolulumagazine.com or download our free iPhone app. Honolulu Magazine is the only resource you need for dining.
Visit honolulumagazine.com today to enter to win a trip for two to any Hawaiian Airlines international destination. You're watching Biting Commentary.
Ed, this smells just like my Papa's kitchen.
Oh no. Pressure's on.
Pressure is on.
It's gonna taste like it now. So you grew up eating Asian food?
I don't know if you call it, I call it local Hawaiian food. I mean, it's an amalgam of all the cultures here. This is the style that my mom used to cook. So I hope it adds up to everything that you remember, but it definitely hits one of those emotional chords for me.
It does.
Now, what did you grow up eating?
The fragrance of this is exactly as Patty was saying. It's my grandmother and my mother, and it's just comfort food. And you didn't know then that it was this healthy, organic. It's just what you ate.
You grew up in a Chinese restaurant, right?
I did grow up in a Chinese restaurant, so every night was Chinese food.
There you go. Yeah, see, my mother cooked in the 50s and 60s, and everything came out of a package, and she didn't know from shiitake mushrooms, really. But it comes right down to it.
Wow, this is amazing. This is great.
And you know what? It tastes like squash.
It does.
I've never had cooked
This
green
does.
papaya
Once it's
before,
cooked.
so it's different as salad. You were right. Same ingredients, totally different taste and texture.
Like you saw, we didn't have to do much. Threw it in a pot and put the lid on it. The Farmer's Market cookbook, the recipes are incredible because they're all simple like that. It's just like we grew up eating. It's really not about doing the latest, greatest, newest thing on the plate. It's about the power food has to bring people together. It brings the best out of people. What you guys are doing, you know, it's the reason why we're all here is because of food. If we hadn't dedicated our life to eating and cooking and drinking and food, we wouldn't be sitting around the table right now.
And for us, for the work that the foundation does, it is about the people.
We're building a different kind of ohana.
Farmers love to
Absolutely.
farm, cooks love to cook, people love to eat. You know, it's a wonderful chain that goes all the way
Imagine
around.
that.
I need to take a bite of my sandwich.
Go ahead. See, now, I've been sneaking them in while you guys have been talking because, you know, I have my priorities here. And it will be really nice when everybody goes to a farmer's market, it doesn't matter which one, and supports the farmers directly and cooks like this as well. I think the key on this might be getting kids involved in changing their diet, right? Because people like to eat what they grew up eating. Now, I know your kids love the kitchen.
The family that cooks together stays together.
And the next generation of farmers also needs to be supported because, you know, we hear a lot about how hard it is to work the land and be a farmer. We fortunately are in partnerships with the Culinary Institute and UH Hilo that will provide loans for the people who are graduating from the agricultural department and learning how to farm and really helping to get them a start and get them back on the land.
I think that respect for what this land provides us has kind of inspired what we do with food. You look at our menu, we have a quote, "Find the simplest, shortest path from the earth to the hands to the mouth." And that's really kind of what we're about. These farmers are more attached to the land than anyone else that I've ever met. It's an ancient Hawaiian value set. You have that aloha aina, and it actually comes through them into the food and to the table, and it makes the food taste better, the conversation's more meaningful. The people that are growing those cardboard tomatoes that are getting shipped from the mainland, I think they don't eat their food. But these guys, when they taste something or they watch you taste it, you can just see this sense of pride. At the same time, they are attached to the land, but they're really moved by the way their food tastes.
Yes, yes.
Kind of a new tagline for Feed the Hunger. It should be Feed the Hunger, turning farm workers into farmers. No, because these guys will walk behind a conveyor belt and they pick a pineapple and it goes, and they never see it again.
Sure.
There's a farm worker mentality, and they tell the kids, you don't want to be a farmer.
We work with people who are growing catfish in aquaculture, people who are growing chickens. So, you know, little steps along the way. I think it's going to come from the ground up. It's the movement that we want to be a part of.
But if somebody's watching this and thinking, yeah, this all makes sense to me. I want local ingredients. I want Hawaii to be closer to self-sustaining than it is. I want to eat really delicious food like Ed makes, right? How do they get involved?
But there are many different ways for people, everyone, to be involved in this movement. Feed the Hunger Foundation just provides one option in regards to we'll take donations, turn them into loan capital, and give lower income individuals a chance to be a part of this movement.
It's really been fun. This is John Heckathorn for Biting Commentary. Not bad.
I'm almost done.
Not bad. Good job.
Never eat my own food.
Mahalo to our sponsors.
From their labs, they're able to sell these small bags, and the amount of pride that they had was incredible.